Hey everyone, if you've ever wanted to see what Astoria, Oregon looks like, this video is for you. I'm going to drive you around town, give you a little tour, point some things out, and then I'll take you up in the sky and give you some drone footage so you can get a real good feel for what the layout of the city looks like. All that starts now. Hey everyone, Seth Marchant with the Home Team Brokers here. Welcome back to the channel, or if you're new to this channel, living on the Oregon coast, we show you what it's like to eat, sleep, play, work, all the pros and cons of living on the Oregon coast. And in this video, I'm going to give you a little driving and drone tour of Astoria. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure and hit the subscribe button, tap the bell, that way you'll be notified every time we drop a new video, which is every week. And as real estate brokers in the state of Oregon, as much as we love making these videos, we like helping people move here even more. So if you're somebody that's thinking about moving to Oregon, you can call us, text us, email us, or you can click the link below in the description to jump into our calendar and schedule a Zoom call with us, typically best for people coming from out of state, which I know a lot of you watching are. All right, so let's get into this. I'm going to start with a little bit of history here, but first, where are we coming from? We're heading from the south. And there's two bridges. The bridge that we just crossed is actually not the primary bridge that most people are going to be crossing when they come into Astoria. The bridge we crossed is just to the east of the 101 bridge that goes over Young's Bay. The bridge we went over, you're technically going over Young's River to the right. The bay is out to the left, and that puts us kind of on the southernmost point of the city. The other bridge that people are going over, the 101 bridge, you'll see that a little bit later in this video. I wanted to start right here because this is going to also cover the southern and kind of southeastern portion of Astoria, which you're not going to see if you're just driving the 101. As you can see, the high school's over to the right. Got a lot of houses over to the right, which is sort of northeast of where we're currently driving. So a lot of people looking for houses over there. So wanted to catch this sort of southeastern portion of Astoria. And now you can kind of see the bridge over to the left out towards the bay. You'll see that again towards the end of this video. Astoria has a population of about 10,000 people. It's a port city in Clatsop County. So it's set at the mouth of a river, just like so many other towns are along the Oregon coast. If you actually want to get to the coast, you'll need to go back over that bridge that you see to the left there, through Warrenton, and it's maybe just about 10 minutes or so before you can actually get to some sand and see the beach. Astoria was the first permanent American settlement west of the Rocky Mountains. This is where Lewis and Clark came around the early 1800s. If I recall correctly, my history from grade school, Lewis and Clark came here searching for a passageway to connect the Great Lakes so that people from the east didn't have to travel all the way south past the tip of South America and then come back up western South America and western North America to reach Astoria. We have the Panama Canal now, as we know, but before the Panama Canal, it was a long trip to get from the eastern United States to the western United States if you're sailing. So they were hoping that they would be able to just go through the Great Lakes and find a passageway to connect the west. As we know, that didn't happen. The first U.S. post office was established west of the Rocky Mountains in Astoria in 1847. Now here we are kind of and we're on the 101, getting into downtown Astoria. You see the bridge on the left there. That is the Astoria-Megler Bridge. That bridge was, I believe, opened in, it was 1966. Before that bridge, there was just simply a ferry service that was ferrying people across from the Oregon to the Washington side. And one thing I can point out while we're here, and we do have a pros and cons video for Astoria. Not a ton of cons, not a ton of big cons, but there's one kind of little con of living in Astoria that you can kind of see as you drive down this road here. There's a handful of places that you might turn left maybe just that Hotel 6 on the left, for example, where there's not a light. And traffic right here can get really, really congested. So the oncoming traffic, which is traffic heading from the north to the south, if you need to make a left turn in some of these places that don't have like that center left turn lane, sometimes you can be sitting there for a really long time. And people behind you, obviously, you're stopped. You have to stop basically in the middle of the road. And sometimes you can accumulate quite a bit of traffic, and you kind of feel bad for all the people waiting behind you because you're trying to turn left, maybe to go, like I said, to like a hotel, or there's like food carts down there. So just a little tiny con, but there are a handful of places on this road here on 101 where there's no center lane. And if you want to turn left, everybody behind you just has to wait. And literally sometimes you could be waiting 2, 3, like 5 minutes. There's been times where I needed to turn left and the oncoming traffic was so bad that I just went ahead and just turned off my turn signal, just kept going and went and turned around somewhere to come around the opposite way. All right, so now we're getting a little bit closer to the downtown area. You're gonna find Astoria is mostly the economy is propped up by tourism, just like a lot of towns along the Oregon coast. They've got a huge art scene, which is also somewhat common for towns along the Oregon coast. You'll find a lot of shops that have art galleries. Other than that, you've got some manufacturing. There's still logging and fishing, but it's not at the same levels that it used to be. A little bit about the weather. Astoria lies within the Mediterranean climate zone, so you've got cool winters, mild summers. Occasionally you get some heat waves. We hit low to mid 80s actually last week in October. The rainfall is really most abundant throughout the fall and winter time, and kind of lightest throughout July through August, averaging about 67 inches a year. Snowfall is pretty rare. Sometimes you'll see a little bit of snow, but usually not sticking for very long. Fun little fact here, I actually didn't know this until recently, because you don't really feel this, or at least I don't. I've had some people ask about the precipitation and the humidity in the past, and I knew it was humid, of course, but it's actually, Astoria is tied with Lake Charles, Louisiana, and Port Arthur, Texas, as the city with the highest average relative humidity in the contiguous United States. The average relative humidity in Astoria is about 89%. Like I said, I don't really notice the humidity. It doesn't get super hot. That's when humidity really becomes apparent, is when it's really hot out. So you might not notice it. If you like humidity, though, that'll be a plus for you. One thing that's cool about driving through downtown Astoria, they always do a really good job of decorating it for the season. And as I mentioned, we're in October right now. So looking back, I should have pointed it out actually a little bit earlier. I don't know if you have to rewind now, but you had the witches on all the light poles back there. And for all the various different seasons, you know, they decorate the downtown. Christmas is really cool, of course. And I'm going to go back down through downtown again, coming from the north, heading south. As you can see on Commercial Street, that road we were just on there, it's a one-way. And then coming back, it's going to be a one-way as well, too. So you don't quite get a feel just going through town on that one-way on Commercial Street. You have the Maritime Museum up on the left. Also, you can't quite see it, but we just passed Bowpecker, which is maybe one of the most popular spots along the Oregon coast. Pretty sure if you look up like restaurants or food carts or things to do in Astoria, like on a TripAdvisor, for example, that's got to be one of the top ones that comes up. What it is fish and chips, and it's actually tuna that they use rather than like cod or halibut. So right now we are on Highway 30. If you're coming from North Portland, that's probably going to be the fastest route to Astoria. Otherwise, you're taking a 26 and the 101 north. The 101 goes across the Astoria-Megler Bridge, so that's kind of where the 101 ends and runs into Highway 30. We're going to go down towards around Safeway or so and turn around here. There's not too many residential areas beyond that, but Astoria probably goes, you know, for at least a few more miles, maybe 3 or 4, 5 more miles, but it does get pretty rural beyond the next couple miles or so. So not a whole lot to see. We'll turn around right up here and, like I said, head back south, and then I'll take you up in the air for some drone footage as well. One more quick note on the weather. Annually, there's about 4 days a year where you get to 80s or higher. Like I mentioned, we just had one weekend that was low to mid 80s, and again, that was in October. Usually your 80s are probably going to come like in a September or an August. 90s are super rare. Normally there's only 1 or maybe 2 nights per year where the temperature remains above 60 degrees, so nights are pretty cool. There's an average of 31 mornings with a minimum of temperatures that are below the freezing mark. So gets below freezing about 30 days a year, but not too far beyond that. The record is 60 degrees. That was back in 1972. The record high is 101 degrees. That was 1942, and also again in 2021. All right, so up in the air now. Where are we? We're just north of the Astoria Bridge, and we'll turn around and you'll see that here in just a moment. Where we left off driving, we're maybe about a mile or so up the road. And like I mentioned, we'll turn around and come back down this way. Those large ships you can see docked over there, that is where the Maritime Museum is. So this is the downtown. This is where all the action is. The downtown, as you can kind of see, is usually pretty bustling, pretty busy. There's usually people out and about. I think I drove through maybe at 11 or noon or something like that. I don't know if it was like a Tuesday or Thursday or something like that. So on a weekend, especially in the summertime, it's going to be a lot more busy than what you currently see. Just below, you see that red building just kind of to the left of that. That's not actually a road. That is a river walk. That goes all the way to the bridge, and it goes, probably should have looked at the distance before this video, but that's maybe like 5 miles or something, 4 miles. So it goes a long way. It goes basically the distance of like the entire downtown. So if you're going to Astoria and you want to get to know the area, just walking that river walk will kind of get you a really cool feel for the town. All right, so what else is Astoria known for? Well, a lot of people coming to Astoria, like I mentioned, are coming from Portland. And so Portland sort of, it feels like, has some influence on Astoria. The good things about Portland, like the food, the beer, that seems to sort of made its way over to Astoria. So Astoria kind of feels like it's become a little bit of a foodie, like brewery type of town, probably more so than any other town along the Oregon coast. So if you're a foodie, if you like breweries, Astoria is going to be perfect for you. And as we go towards the Astoria-Megla Bridge here, this is where we initially came in, just over on the other side of this hill. I wanted to kind of give you a feel for the hill over here and what things look like. As you can see, there's a lot of houses that are set back up in these hills. And one of the great things, if you're thinking about moving here, like I've mentioned in so many of other videos, people moving to the Oregon coast, they want those views, especially water views. Whether it's the ocean, river, a lake, people want to be able to see water. So one cool thing about Astoria, as you can see, is there's a ton of houses that do have water views. And on the note of houses and things that Astoria is known for, the movie Goonies was shot here. The Goonies house is here in Astoria. It's kind of varied over the years as to whether or not you could go see it or kind of access it, because obviously it's gotten a lot of traffic. So there were points where it was like all boarded up or like covered in tarps, and there wasn't much to see because they get so much traffic. But if you're not checking out the house, you could at least check out the jail that was in the movie. The Jeep that the Fratellis escaped in is in there, the parking lot, and now is currently the Oregon Film Museum. So if you're thinking about moving here, what are you looking at with the housing market? Inventory is low here, just like the rest of the market. Given that this was the first place established along the Oregon coast, you do have a lot of really old homes that were built in the late 1800s, early 1900s, a lot of Victorian homes. So a lot of older, charming homes. You won't find too much new construction. There are a handful of places where they are building, specifically where we initially came from at the beginning of this video on the other side of Young's Bay, Young's River. you'll find at least one new subdivision that they're currently building in. But for the most part, you're going to be looking at what you saw in that drone video. A lot of older, larger homes set back up in the hills, usually smaller lots, but do have some really, really great views. So I'm going to take a right up here off the highway just for a moment to kind of face you down towards the river so you can kind of get a feel for what that looks like. And then I'll hop back on the highway and go all the way to the turnaround right at the bridge where you cross over Young's Bay and kind of in the video there. That way you'll kind of get a feel for the entire town driving both ways. If you have more questions about Astoria or anywhere else on the Oregon coast, if you're thinking about moving here, you can call us, text us, email us, or schedule a Zoom call with us in the description below. And if this video helped you, give us a thumbs up. Feel free to leave a comment and let us know what you think. And if you want to see more videos like this about what it looks like, what it's like to live, eat, sleep, play, work, all the pros and cons of the Oregon coast, make sure and subscribe to us. And you'll also want to tap that bell so you can get notified every time we drop a new video, which is every week. All right, everyone, thanks for watching. Take care. Got about another mile or so to go up the road until we hit the bridge. I'll leave you with that. Until next time, we'll see you later.